You ever have those days where your mind suddenly drifts back to the 70s? Because let's be honest, if you lived through that decade, it doesn't feel like history. It feels like last week. It's crazy to think that the era of bell-bottoms, wood-paneled TVs, roller skates, and 8-track players is now half a century behind us. Yet somehow, those moments are still so sharp, like they're stitched right into who we are. So today, we're taking a little trip back to the decade that shaped a generation. Before we jump in, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. And if you were around in the 70s, you can't help but smile when you think about roller disco nights. There was nothing quite like gliding under neon lights, trying to dance to the Bee Gees while wobbling on wheels that seemed determined to send us flying. Awkward, a little dangerous, but unforgettable. Those were the moments that made the decade feel alive. Bright, loud, and full of joy we didn't even realize we were living. And then there was that feeling every kid knew, the quiet envy of someone who had an Atari at home. Maybe you didn't own one, but you definitely knew a friend who did. And suddenly their house became the most magical place on the block. The thought of playing video games in your own living room without digging for quarters felt almost futuristic back then. It was simple, thrilling, and somehow those blinking pixels still glow in our memories today. And one memory that never really fades is the simple act of waiting for the phone. Back in the 70s, every home had that one rotary phone sitting in the middle of the house, its cord stretching only as far as life allowed. If someone was already on it, you didn't have a choice. You waited, sometimes impatiently, sometimes pacing the hallway. Those long holds, those sibling arguments, that soft clicking of the rotary dial, they were quiet little moments that shaped the rhythm of our days. And if you grew up in the 70s, you remember what it felt like to be bionic. All it took was running in slow motion and making that little robotic sound with your tongue. Suddenly you were Steve Austin or Jamie Summers, stronger and faster than anyone on the playground. Even decades after the $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman faded from TV, that simple childhood game still carries a spark, a tiny reminder of how powerful our imaginations once were. And then there was Simon, one of the simplest yet most irresistible games of the late 70s. When it hit the shelves in 1978, every kid wanted one, and the moment you heard those 4 tones, you were hooked. All you had to do was follow the pattern of flashing colors, but somehow, it felt like the most intense challenge in the world. Long before Fortnite or modern consoles, Simon had us completely locked in. Hearts racing, fingers ready, living in the pure joy of the moment. And for many of us, it's impossible to forget the gas station lines of the 70s. During the 1973 oil crisis, and the one that followed, cars stretched around the block, barely inching forward, families waiting with the windows down and the radio humming softly. Some stations waved green flags when they still had fuel, and red when the pumps had run dry. Every drive felt uncertain back then, like you never knew if you'd make it home or run out halfway. It was a small piece of history we all lived through together. Remember the thrill of waiting all week just to watch cartoons on Saturday morning? Bugs Bunny, Fred Flintstone, the whole gang only appeared during those precious hours, and if you missed them, that magic was gone. Gone until the next weekend. There was no streaming, no instant replay, just the simple joy of anticipation. Somehow, sitting in front of that TV taught us patience, and those moments of animated wonder still glow in our memories today. And who could forget the Watergate hearings? Even if you weren't into politics, it seemed like everyone was talking about it. Around the dinner table, at work, everywhere. Night after night, the evening news brought every shocking detail into our living rooms. And when Richard Nixon finally left the White House and climbed into that helicopter, it felt surreal. Like history itself was unfolding right before our eyes. It's one of those moments from the 70s that stayed with the whole country. Imagine waking up one morning in the 70s without a clue who Darth Vader was. And by that evening, your imagination was consumed by the dark side, black helmets, and lightsabers. Star Wars didn't just hit theaters, it changed everything. Suddenly, the world felt divided into before Star Wars and after Star Wars. And for kids everywhere, nothing would ever be quite the same again. It was pure magic. The kind of cultural moment that sticks with you forever. Back in the 70s, most kids had no clue about stranger danger. The world wasn't safer, but our parents just didn't hover the way they do today. We wandered the neighborhood freely, talking to anyone who smiled, making friends with strangers without a second thought. Looking back, it feels almost magical. The trust, the freedom, the little adventures that taught us independence and curiosity, moments we'd never experience quite the same way again. And then there were the little moments that stayed with us forever, like memorizing every word to Rubber Ducky. In the 70s, kids didn't have endless shows to choose from, so when something touched our hearts, it stuck. Sesame Street gave us some of the sweetest memories of childhood. And somehow, even decades later, we can still hear Ernie singing to his Rubber Ducky, as if it were playing on the TV this morning. Those simple songs became part of who we were. Back in the 70s, short shorts and tube socks were everywhere. A strange, glorious moment when both men and women dressed almost exactly the same. Those knee-high striped socks, those too tight shorts that left nothing to the imagination. Looking back, none of us looked particularly flattering. But somehow, under the summer sun, with the radio playing and the world feeling wide open, we truly believed we were the coolest people alive. It's funny how a simple outfit can take us right back. And then there were the adventures we took without even realizing they were adventures. In the 70s, hitchhiking wasn't just a way to get around. It was a small act of trust in a world that somehow felt safer. Or maybe we were just braver. All it took was sticking out your thumb and waiting for a kind stranger to slow down, roll down the window, and offer a ride. For free spirits without a car, or kids too young for a license, it was simply how you got from one place to the next. Looking back now, it feels almost unbelievable. But that's what made the 70s feel wide open and just a little bit magical. Back in the 70s, nobody paused to ask if you'd put on sunscreen, mostly because sunscreen wasn't really a thing yet. What we had was suntan lotion, meant to help you get some color, not protect you from anything. So we'd run around shirtless under that blazing July sun, turning a deep golden brown or bright red. And when the sunburn came, people just shrugged it off, like it was part of growing up. We didn't know much about the dangers back then. We were just kids chasing summer, one carefree day at a time. Some memories hit you like a classroom flashback, and this one certainly does. In the late 70s, the whole country was buzzing about the Metric Conversion Act of 1975, and for kids, it felt like our world was about to be rewritten in meters, liters, and grams. Schools rolled out endless films and cartoons, like the unforgettable Metric Marvels, trying to make this new system feel fun, even heroic. But beneath it all, many of us carried a tiny knot of worry, wondering if we'd suddenly have to be metric ready overnight. Today's kids don't know that stress. But for us, it was a real part of growing up in the 70s. Some memories come back with the sound of metal clanking in the summer air. Growing up in the 70s meant braving playgrounds that felt more like boot camp courses than spaces for kids. The monkey bars were cold, solid steel that showed no mercy, and every slide, seesaw, swing, and merry-go-round was built like it could survive a tornado. We climbed, jumped, and held on for dear life, knowing a scraped knee or a full-on wipeout was almost guaranteed. It was tough, a little dangerous, and somehow it made those childhood afternoons unforgettable. There are moments when a single movie rewrites the way a whole generation sees the world. After Jaws hit theaters in 1975, the water never felt innocent again. Kids across America hesitated at the edge of the ocean, imagining dark shapes moving beneath the waves. Even lakes, ponds, sometimes even backyard pools, felt like they could be hiding something with sharp teeth and a hunger for toes. Looking back, it's almost funny how deeply it got into our minds. But that fear, that thrill, was a defining part of growing up in the 70s. The 1970s, a time of warm colors, slow afternoons, and small joys that somehow felt bigger than life. A decade filled with moments that shaped who we became. Whether it was the way we gathered around the TV, the music that filled our homes, or the simple rituals that stitched our days together. These memories stay with us, soft around the edges, but unforgettable. What's the 70s moment you still carry in your heart? Share it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if you enjoy journeys like this, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the next step back into memory.